Hello everyone, Master Venus here, and welcome back to another Draft League video. Yeah, Draft League, we're back. All my leagues have ended and didn't get to the finals in, well, any of the ones that I took a part of on YouTube, but we are back with a brand new league run by someone who we faced in another league, which this league's run by Radial and Gentle. And I'm excited to join this league because it looks like a bunch of fun. It's basically the same format as GLDL with slight tweaks to the tier list as well as also point values and stuff. Like, you can draft a T1, well, an S tier and a tier, and then obviously you have to pick up an F tier. Because this tier list is split up into separate tiers just like the CCC, where it's S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, and then F tier. Which, F tier is, no offense, kind of like, I feel like there's only like a couple ones that I kind of clicked with in F tier. So yeah, in this league you have to mandatory draft 1 S tier, 1 A tier, 1 B tier, 2 C tiers, 2 D tiers, and 1 F tier. And you get 3 points Pokemon that you can spend points on. You have 120, S tiers are 60, A tiers are 50, B tiers are 40, D tiers are 30, and... Wait, I think I might have got them wrong. I'm not sure, but you basically... You can't draft 2 S tiers, you can draft an A tier. You can draft like an S tier and an A tier, then an F tier. You can draft like a B tier, C tier, and a D tier. Like, you get the idea. You can draft 2 A tiers and then a D tier, but as I said, you get the idea. Yeah, so it's kind of allows you to draft higher tier end stuff, but then punishes you more by you having to draft an F tier, which honestly... Lots of the F tiers are, no offense, kinda bad. But there are a few that stuck out that I feel like can actually work, which I've drafted 2 of those, which I feel like is fine. Like, both of them I feel like is fine. But honestly, the weather's changing a bunch right now. Like, I'm here, nothing. I go over here, it's snowing. Weird champ, bro. But anyway, you're not here to see me do weatherman things by discussing the weather. You're here to see what Pokemon that I have drafted for this season of the MFDL, which is the name of the league. Probably should have started with that, honestly, saying what the name of the league is. This is season 2. I didn't take part in season 1. But yeah, I'm excited for this season. Let's, do it, I guess. So, I'll start this league. I had zero idea what I wanted to draft. Like, this is the first league where I'm like, I have zero idea what they want to do. And wait a minute, I'm going to plug in my charger just to be on the safe side. Just be on the safe side. Is this it? Sorry a second. This should be it, I think. Yeah, that's it. Wait a minute. There we go. That should be fine. Just to be on the safe side, I don't want this to go off mid-recording. But let's start off with the first Pokemon. And technically, I have drafted this Pokemon before in another draft league. But I honestly don't count that league because, well, it kind of, like, ended prematurely halfway through because, like, it was long breaks between the weeks and it's just like, eh. So I kind of quit out that one, plus also it was like VGC kind of style, it was kind of OP, like I had a bunch of like technical S and A tier Pokemon, and it just wasn't fun for me to play in, because most of the people didn't know what to do. Like, it's an actual draft, like they use the same Pokemon over and over again, but eh. But I have drafted the S tier Raging Ball. One of the new Paradox Pokemon introduced in the I almost said the Crown Tundra, bro. The Indigo Disc, which this thing is a electric and dragon type with alright speed, a massive HP stat, an insane special attack stat, decent bulk all around. I'm actually not sure what its physical attack stat is, but I'm pretty sure it's terrible. Because why would something like this have a good attack stat? Whee! Whee! I also found out now that you can actually, there's like idle animations for the Pokemon. When you press X, they do like an little idle animation. So I'm not just constantly attacking with the Pokemon every single time. Pretty sure you can sprint and press a button. Yeah. So what does Raging Bolt do? Well, Raging Bolt has a signature move called Thunderclap, which is basically electric type Sucker Punch. Which means if the opposing Pokemon uses an attacking move, you hit before them. So basically it's a priority move that moves before attacking moves but fails versus status moves or moves that have increased priority that are faster than Raging Bolt, which is mostly every priority user because I think like the only priority user which doesn't is like King Gambit or something like that. But honestly, I'm stoked to use this thing. Dragon Electric is a cool typing used on many Pokemon. Like, I enjoy Dracozole, I like Zekrom. This thing's kind of like that, but it's more on the bulk side. Plus also it's Paradox Raikou. How can I not use this thing? I've used Gouging Fire, I've still yet to use Walking Wake. I really want to use all three at some point. And honestly, Raging Ball is probably my favourite of the three, just because, like... Suicune is my favourite of the three dogs, but I like Raikou as well. Raikou's cool. But this thing definitely has the potential to be devastating because of its bulk. And just saying, this is a closed Terra League, so... yeah, anything can terrestrialize into anything, and it is disclosed, so... people don't know what this thing's going to be terroring, and Raging Bolt has the ability, when terrored, to be kind of a menace. And yeah, Raging Bolt also gets things like Volt Switch, which means it can do like a slow switch out, and also just deal insane damage. It gets Snarl, which means it can lower the special attack stats of Pokemon. Obviously, Photosynthesis is a busted ability. Give it a booster energy will basically just increase its special attack, or one of its defenses if I EV it right, which I found out it can actually do. But yeah, Raging Bolt, I'm excited to use this guy, because it's been a Pokemon that I've been kind of wanting to use ever since the start of the, the DLCs. So yeah, that is Raging Bolt. It also gets Thunderbolt, and also the only Pokemon to get Rising Voltage. Okay, let's go over the next Pokemon on the team, which is a Pokemon that I've seen be used a bunch, and it is kind of insane what this Pokemon could do. I drafted another Paradox form. I drafted Screamtail. Screamtail is pure support. Screamtail gets an array of stat moves, which are generally really, really good. Like, it gets all 4 weathers, it gets Scary Face, it gets Encore, it gets Disable, it gets, I think it gets Wonder Wave, I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. It gets both screens, it gets, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what else this thing does. It's cute though. Look at it. It's adorable. I love Screamtail, man. It's one of the cutest Paradox forms. And also it's big, bro. Look at this. Look at it compared to me. Like, it's giant. And, oh yeah, Screamtail also has a pretty good speed stat, base 111, as well as also insane bulk. Like, both sides of the spectrum. This thing is fast and bulky. However, the downside is its offenses are kind of lackluster. It is base 65 in both special attack and physical attack. So the only way you're ever dealing damage with this thing is if you deal like super effective damage, or like you boost this thing's attacking stats with Calm Mind or Bulk Up or Howl. You'll probably see Howl on this Pokemon a lot, because if you see my team. But Screamtail is honestly kind of just an insane Pokemon for what it does. Like, booster energy with this thing's insane because it just boosts one of its defensive stats. And also increases its speed. It can increase its speed to astronomical speeds. Like, some things can't outspeed this thing, even with Choice Scarf, if this thing boosts its speed. And Psychic Fairy is a pretty good typing. Mainly just because, like, Fairy's an OP type, and paired with Psychic means, yeah, this thing is neutral to, not resist, sorry. It's neutral to Bug and Dark, which it normally wouldn't be as a Psychic type. Plus, also, it has 3 weaknesses, which isn't a lot. Like, it's weak to Poison, Steel, and it's weak to Ghost. And, like, it already covers the Poison type moves with its Psychic type moves, so essentially it only has 2 weaknesses. And for this bulk, I feel like it can definitely do some stuff. And, yeah, aww, it yawns. That's adorable, bro. This thing's adorable. Why did I make this thing so adorable? So yeah, that is Screamtail. Oh, also it gets Trick Room. I forgot to mention it also gets Trick Room. So yeah. So, this next Pokemon, I was honestly not expecting to get at all. I was choosing between Raging Bolt and this Pokemon as my first pick. And I was just like, I'd rather be able to use Raging Bolt than this thing. But if I can get it, I'll be fine. If I don't, I'll just pick up Volcarona in A tier. But I somehow managed to get it, and it's another Ogerpon. I managed to get another Ogerpon. Which means I'm using Ivory again, bro. Ivory's back once again. But this time, she shedded her water type in for more offensive firepower. Yeah, this is Half Flame. I don't know why they don't have the masks on. Yeah, I love Ogerpon. And honestly, this thing does mostly the exact same things that Wellspring does. Which is, it's semi-bulky, it can hit really hard, it's quite fast, base 110. But the upside to this one, unlike Wellspring in the ADL, is I can Terrestrialize this thing. I can use a Terrestrialize. Did I just use the Cudgel? Wait a minute. I've had to sprint, right? No, I just. Bro, can it stop? I want to see the Cudgel, bro. Bro, I want to see the Cudgel. Use your stick. I saw a stick. Bro, I saw a stick. Stop drop kicking. Oh, freaking low battery. I don't care, honestly. It should be fine. Wait a minute. Actually, I can put this on charge, bro. I've got a lot of wires in here. But yeah, alright, we got it charged in. Okay. But yeah, hey, there we go. Bro, can it? I don't matter. Anyway, Ogerpon Harp Flame, when it terrestrializes, it can only terrestrialize into a fire type, so it sheds its grass typing and becomes pure fire, which changes its weaknesses. It's still weak to rock, but it's no longer weak to stuff like flying, poison, or anything like that. It also now resists ice. It also now resists I don't know. But it also gains a weakness to water, and it also gains a weakness to ground, not grass. Yeah, it also just becomes neutral to grass. It becomes, resisted to grass rather than 4 times resisted to grass, but this thing gets all the stupid busted stuff that the Ogerpons get. Ivy Cudgel, it gets Horn Leech, it gets Spiky Shield, it gets Follow Me, it gets Sword Dance, it gets Focus Energy, like. This one can be more lenient in its offenses just due to its ability to terrestrialize. Generally, because Ivy Cudgel Double Stab is insane. Plus, this thing gets Mold Breaker, so if you're immune to fire, good luck getting hit by an Ivy Cudgel. Or I guess Sap Sipper as well. Because this thing just ignores abilities when attacking, so it ignores, like, contact abilities, like, I think it ignores static, it ignores flame body, which flame body doesn't matter, never mind. But it ignores abilities while attacking, so you can't switch a Flash Fire Pokemon and you can't switch Sap Sipper, you can't switch... I'm trying to think. Heat-proof Pokemon take super effective damage from this thing's Fire-type moves, because I'm pretty sure every single heat-proof Pokemon... Thick Fat, it hits it with super effective damage. Yeah, Mold Breaker is a really good ability, but when this thing terrestrializes, it gains Embodied Aspect, which whenever it enters the battle, or whenever it terrestrializes, it gets a free attack raise. So basically, its moves are going to be hitting even harder. It gets a free attack raise, which potentially paired with, what's its face's name? Screamtail, which can set Howls, it can also set up Light Screens and Reflects, like, general things this thing can do. Yeah. I'm kind of excited to use, the Cudgel, bro. The Cudgel. But yeah, I'm excited to use Ogerpon again. Definitely much better than last time, just because now I know what to expect and do with Ogerpon. Plus also I can terrestrialize it. Which means I can actually do things offensively with this thing now, rather than it just basically being maybe a killing machine 1 week, but then actually be defensive pivot the next week. So yeah, that is Ogerpon Halfling. One of the ones I'm excited to use the most. And the next 3 Pokemon are Pokemon that I've 100% drafted before. People might... That's the wrong button. That's a bit of a spoiler, but you always are spoilers anyway, because I can't edit. But I used this Pokemon in my second ever draft league. Well, I used it for a partial time in my second ever draft league. And ever since, I've been wanting to use it again. Because I love this Pokemon. Like, I'm pretty sure it's my favorite normal type. And it's C tier, which I personally feel like is kind of insane. This Pokemon in C tier is kind of insane. And that Pokemon is Porygon Z. I love Porygon Z, man. Dude's a glitchy mess. But we love him for it. Look at this thing, bro. So yeah, if you don't know what Porygon Z does, I don't know what you're living under a rock. It gets Analytic, which, granted, isn't the best. But its other 2 abilities are really good. It gets Adaptability, which means its normal type moves become 2 times rather than 1.5 times when they're put under stab. Which means this thing hits even harder with its normal type moves, mainly Hyper Beam and Tri-Attack. But also it makes it so its terrestrial moves do become the 2 times as well. So if I use something like Terra, Ghost, Shadow Ball, I get like... I basically get Adaptability Ghost. So Adaptability works both ways with terrestrialization, but... yeah, this thing gets some really nice supporting moves. It gets both Electro Web and Icy Wind, which means it can do some speed control shenanigans. With base 90 speed, it's a pretty decent speed stat. It can set Nasty Plot. It can set Trick Room. Yeah, this thing gets Bolt Beam coverage. It obviously has Hyper Beam and Tri-Attack with an incredible special attack stat. Base 135, if I do believe so. With alright bulk, like... it's less than Ogerpon and it's less than Screamtail and what's his face's name? Raging Bolt, but honestly, this thing still has decent bulk that with some investment as well as also maybe some other measures like Screams from Screamtail or I'm trying to think, Snarls from Raging Bolt. This thing could tank a couple hits and hit back just as hard. So yeah, Porygon Z. I'm super excited to use this thing in a lower tier. Because the last time I used this thing, it was in the slot of an S tier, which in Sword and Shield without Dynamax, I feel like this thing probably was that tier. But with the power creep of this generation, 90 speed isn't the best speed stat anymore, so this thing can get outsped and killed. But I feel like this thing definitely has the ability to actually be kind of good. Is this thing gonna go on the floor? I don't think it can go on the floor. I think it's constantly just... what's it called? But yeah, the Digital Duck, or Dr. Robotnik. Dr. Robotnik is back. I think I named it Dr. Robotnik. I don't remember I named it something like that. But yeah, that is Porygon Z. And the next Pokemon is a Pokemon that I also used in Sword and Shield. And I'm excited to bring it back once again. We have a C tier, which is once again beginning with P. And a Pokemon that I used in the CCZ, we have Berserker. This Pokemon is interesting. It's a Pokemon with base 50 speed, so it's very slow. It has alright HP, alright special defense, but a really nice defense stat with a nice attack stat as well to go with it. Its abilities are Battle Armor, which prevents it from taking critical hits, which can help in some matchups where people tend to use more critical hit reliant moves, like guaranteed crit moves, or moves with boosted critical hit rates. Then its other 2 abilities are where it shines. Tough Claws basically gives all of its contact moves a Life Orb boost, which can normally help with its lackluster attack stat in some scenarios. And then Steely Spirit, which gives both Berserker and its ally Pokemon an essential Choice Band or Choice Specs boost to their respective Steel-type move, which can sometimes help, but it's not why I drafted this Pokemon. I drafted it for its speed stat, its Steel typing, its access to Fake Out. Yeah, I didn't draft this thing for Steely Spirit, but Steely Spirit is obviously nice to have. Just Terra something Steel and Terra Steel Terra Blast, and it's gonna hit like a truck. Especially Porygon Z. If I put this thing next to Porygon Z using Terra Steel Terra Blast with adaptability, it's gonna hit pretty hard. So yeah, Berserker is a monster in Trick Room, and there isn't honestly much to say about it. It hits hard, it can be pretty good in Trick Room, it can kind of be a bulky threat. Obviously it gets Fake Out. A lot of my Pokemon get Taunt, honestly. Like, a lot of my Pokemon get Taunt. But yeah, it gets pretty good coverage with stuff like Seed Bomb, Play Rough, Close Combat, like, it's gonna hit like a truck. I'm just telling you that for sure. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about Berserker. That's kind of mostly what I have to say about it. And now we move on to the Pokemon that I'm the most excited to redraft. If you will remember my first set of videos that I released on the GLDL Season 4, I think it was 4. Or was it Season 3? No, it was Season 4. It was Season 4, because this season was Season 5. Okay, if you remember, I kind of dominated the league with a certain Burb. And I am proud to present the return of the Pembroke Palafins GLDL Basket Legion Kill Leader. Galarian Moltres is back in my possession. Oh, how I missed using this Pokemon, bro. This Pokemon is incredible. What can it do? Well, what can't it do is the question. Its coverage isn't the best, granted. Terra, it really relies on Terra to be nice coverage. But Dark Flying isn't bad, honestly. Dark Flying is a pretty decent defensive typing with niche resistances, stuff like Grass, immune to Psychic. It also resists Dark and Ghost, which I feel like in Draft, always having a Ghost and a Dark resist is always going to be nice to have. Oh wait, this thing can land? But it still has its wings spread out, bro. Why does this thing get its wings spread out still? This thing just looks derpy, though. Let's put it back in the sky, bro. It looks much more menacing in the sky. So this thing can act as a annoying, bulky Pokemon. It can set Tailwind. It can use Snarl. It can boost its special attack with Nasty Plot, which, due to its bulk, unlike PZ, it could get away with just running Nasty Plot out in the open, because it can probably tank a hit. Its only ability is Berserk, but Berserk is no bad ability. Berserk increases its special attack stat when it goes under... when it goes to 25% HP, I think? It's like a built-in berry, basically. But one thing I've seen recently a lot with Galarian Moltres is running Citrus Berry, which, when they get down to that lower enough HP percentage, it activates Berserk, and then it goes back up to above 50%, so when it goes back down below to that range, it gets another special attack boost. Which, this thing's got pretty good stats across the board. Base 90 HP, 90 defense, base 125 special defense, so this thing tanks special hits like a champion. It isn't no slouch on any other department, honestly. It has a decent attack stat. I've ran stuck a bunch with this thing before. But it has a base 90 speed stat, base 100 special attack stat, which, granted, 100 special attack stat isn't, like, astronomical, but with this thing's ease of setting up, this thing could end games with one Nasty Plot or Berserk proc. There was a reason that I used this thing to so much success in, GLDL Season 4, I feel like the team that I had definitely compensated for it, and I feel like this team also compensates for it. Both balanced teams really benefited off of Moltres' typing, as well as also just, counters towards Moltres, having answers into counters to Moltres, which I kind of have, but, not to a degree. But Moltres is definitely a pivotal part of this team, and I'm really, 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 really excited to use it again, bro. I'm a big fan of Phoenix Pokemon like Ho-Oh, regular Moltres, Galarian Moltres, Talonflame. So yeah, I'm excited to use this Dark Flying Pokemon once again. And yeah, that is Galarian Moltres. Glad to be talking about this Pokemon again, bro. And let me get the last 5 Pokemon that I have on the team. There it is. Spoilers! Lol. As if anyone cares about spoilers. There it is. And I guess I can put this thing over here. Okay, there we go. So, now we've kind of got the big Pokemon out of the way. Well, there's one more big Pokemon, I guess. But the rest are kind of like lower tiers. So, in my first D tier pick, I picked up Arbok. This Pokemon is pretty cool for a D tier, honestly. This thing can do some things that I felt I didn't really know this thing could do. Turns out it actually has decent bulk across the board with Intimidate, which makes it pretty bulky. It has a base 80 speed stat, which this thing's actually kind of fast. Like, it's only 10 behind Galarian Moltres and Porygon Z. Like, I didn't think this thing would be so fast. It's got Gunk Shot, Stab Gunk Shot, which means it's gonna hit decently hard with a stab attack. It gets Glare for nice, free powers and even powers into ground types. Like, Glare is a very nice move since it's a 100% accurate power move, which my Pokemon can't really use paralysis, like set it. Like, I'm pretty sure Screamtail does with Thunder Wave, but I'm not too sure. And I feel like I'd rather be using other moves than Thunder Wave on Raging Bolt. So having this thing be able to use Glare is always nice to have. And also, Arbok is just a classic Generation 1 Pokemon that I feel like can definitely do some things. Like, Intimidate is obviously a really nice ability. Shed Skin has its uses. I'm not sure on its final ability. I think it's Shed Skin. Shed Skin, I already mentioned Shed Skin, never mind. I don't know its final ability. I know it has Intimidate, I know it has Shed Skin, I don't know its last ability. I wish this thing had something like Strong Jaw, bro. I feel like this thing needs something. Arbok needs something, in my opinion. I know it's decent coverage, but like, yeah, this thing isn't the best in the world, but it's simply not the worst. At least it's not the worst. Like, having a poison type in draft, I feel like is always nice to have since it's just a neat, immediate answer into most fairy type Pokemon, and only being weak to Psychic and Ground, both of those types being kind of rare. Well, people try to draft them, but generally, they're either a top tier Pokemon or a low tier Pokemon. Or, I guess Psychic types are in between. Psychic type Pokemon are either like bulky Trick Room setters or kind of just like offensive powerhouses like Iron Crown or Iron Boulder or I guess Alakazam in general loses. But yeah, this is Arbok. Can I quit syncing? There we go. So, the next Pokemon, I'm gonna try and speedrun what this thing can do. It is Fletchling. This thing uses Gale Wing's Tailwind, and Gale Wing's Feather Dance, and Gale Wing's Acrobatics, and can deter things with Quick Attack. Moving on. Honestly, there isn't much to talk about with Fletchling, because that's basically all it does as an F tier. So yeah, moving on to my second D tier, which I'm kind of excited to use this thing. I am going to be using Camerupt. I love this thing, bro. Camerupt, also incredible shiny. Whoever decided to make Camerupt shiny black, it needs a raise. But honestly, this is a palette swap, so this thing didn't become black on purpose. But yeah, this thing is a great shiny. It's the only one I own though, so you're gonna have to deal with a regular shiny. So this thing is a behemoth in Trick Room. It's got base 40 speed, which is kind of nice for Trick Room since, honestly, this generation, you're either a very low tier Pokemon with a low speed stat, or you're a pretty decent Trick Room Pokemon with like base 50 or 60. But Camerupt is base 40, so it naturally underspeeds them. But Camerupt can be very, very offensive. Like, it gets Eruption, which means, like, if at full HP, this thing can hit, like, an absolute unit from Eruptions. Obviously, they're not as... it has a higher special attack stat than Torkoal, so obviously it's going to hit as hard, if not even harder than Torkoal. But obviously it doesn't set the sun, so yeah. But also this thing being able to terrestrialize an eruption user is kind of nice. Just Terrafire Camera Up is definitely just going to hit hard. Solid Rock is a really nice ability for just adding to Camera Up's mediocre bulk. Like, base 70 across the board isn't the bulkiest thing in the world. So this thing, obviously, if it hits once, it's just going to get hit really hard. But Fire Ground isn't the best defensive typing, but offensively, Fire Ground is incredible. The only type that it can't really deal with is, like... I'm trying to think. Flying types are immune to ground, but aren't weak to fire, aren't resisted there. Don't resist fire, but like, yeah, this also thing gets decent coverage moves. I think it gets Ancient Power, I think it gets Solar Beam. But yeah, Camera Up is a Pokemon that I'm excited to use, and you may notice I picked up another fire type, and that's because I feel like there may be some things that Ogerpon Harp Flame can't do as a Park Grass type, which is, I'm trying to think. There's definitely some things that I remember thinking about when picking up a D tier and an F tier, because both of them are a fire and a grass type, but obviously lower tier, and also more Trick Room oriented. But yeah, this is Camerupt, a Pokemon that I'm excited to use. Okay, next Pokemon is a Pokemon that is quite high tier, but I picked up pretty late in the draft. Mainly just because I didn't pick up a B tier, so I was just like, I know I'm drafting this near the end of the draft. Lots of people already have fighting types, lots of people already have water types. I have Urshifu Rapid Strike with Intimidate, also known as Tauros Aqua Breed. Which, I'm excited to use this thing, honestly. Tauros Aqua Breed is what it says on the tin. It's Tauros with Stab Water and Stab Fighting. Basically, it's faster Urshifu, which doesn't hit as hard. But its Water Stab is... Surgeon Strikes is probably more consistent, but Raging Ball definitely has its uses. Obviously, Raging Ball clears screens, which means my team can't be affected by stuff like a Dual Screams Grimmsnarl, or a Screens... What else has screens? Meowstick, or something like that. And Tauros has decent physical bulk and alright special bulk. Obviously, this thing also has Intimidate. Could choose a situational ability. Anger Point probably is not going to be used. I don't have a Frost Breath user. But Tauros definitely has its uses. With the DLC, it gained a couple coverage moves. Like, it gets high horsepower. So, being a water type, which has access to electric coverage, is insane. But granted, it in a water type with access to something like Brave Bird to hit grass types. But yeah, this thing with Terrestrialization can definitely be a threat, because Tauros can hit really hard. Base 115 attack stat is nothing to snuff at with its dual stabs of Close Combat and Raging Ball, and potentially Wave Crash. This thing gets pretty nice water moves. It also gets Aqua Jet for priority, and yeah, I'm kind of excited to use Tauros. Like, I've used Blaze Breed, I haven't used Aqua Breed, and Aqua is pretty good for B tier in my personal opinion. Like, I'm pretty sure it's one of the better water types in that tier. Like, there's Baxter Legion Female, which I basically just use in the GLDL. So there isn't really much need. Like, it was a backup option for me. Like, I was definitely gonna look out for it if Tauros went. Either earlier on or later on in the draft, but I'm excited to use Tauros. Plus also, having a fighting type, I feel like just offensively is just really nice. Paired with water, you can't really go wrong, honestly. Like, they don't affect each other, it doesn't give it a 4 times weakness, it doesn't affect it all too much. It just increases its defensive profile, since it's a water type which resists rock. So yeah, that is Aqua Breed Tauros. And finally, we have the F tier that everyone is going to hard prep for and is going to fear with all their hearts. Sunflora. Sunflora. There we go. Sunflora. Yeah, Sunflora. Bro, this thing's slow. Well, obviously it's slow. It's base 30 speed. It's the slowest Pokemon on my team, but still. So what does Sunflora do? Well, it's kind of frail, but it has a decent special attack stat, and it's slow. Which means it's only in Trick Room, and you have to set it up with sun. Otherwise, it only does mediocre damage. This thing gets chlorophyll and it gets solar power, so in the sun, this thing can do really well. But its coverage is actually kind of insane. It gets earth power, it gets dazzling gleam. I assume it gets weather wall. But this thing also gets kind of nice stats moves. Like I'm pretty sure it probably gets sleep powder. It probably gets leech seed. Like this thing gets grass things. Yeah, there's kind of not much to say. Go Raz, bro. Go Raz. Dude bringing up freaking Sunflora to a regional and actually doing kind of well. Let's go, Raz. I will do your girl proud. Look at my face. It's proving I do kind of well. Anyway, that is my team for the MFDL Season 2. What I like to call balanced team, which isn't balanced at all in my personal opinion. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to use this team, honestly. Let me put it in order of drafted. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to use this team, honestly. It's a team full of Pokemon that I've either drafted before, or... Oh, wait a minute. Peach! Go in the top slot. Put you there. But yeah, this is a team that I'm excited to use because it's full of Pokemon that I've either wanted to draft or have drafted in the past and enjoyed so much that I'd want to use them again. Good modes, a good Trick Room mode, decent Tailwind mode, really good speed tiers. Like, I go from base of 110 to base 30. And the only overlapping speed, I guess, is 110 and 111. And then dual base 90s. But apart from that, I feel like the speed tiers are pretty decent, honestly. Typing-wise, the only duplicate types are 2 fire types in Camerupt and Ogerpon. Dual grass types in, again, Ogerpon and Sunflora. Dual normal types with Fletchling and Porygon Z, and then dual flying types with Fletchling and Moltres. But honestly, Fletchling sharing types doesn't matter at all. The thing's as frail as a stick, so it's not going to be tanking hits at all. But yeah, that is it for my draft breakdown of my team in this season of the MFDL. That's the wrong button. I pressed the wrong button. Get me out of this. Where's it? Where is it? There it is. Yeah. I'm excited for this season because I actually have a good team, I feel like. Like, all my other teams, I feel like have been mid to low tier at the beginning. But I feel like this one could actually be kind of solid. Like, I don't want to do a trade. Like, I feel like my team is fine the way it is. Like, the only way I do a trade is maybe trading out something like Camerupt or Sunflora. Like, that's mostly all I do, maybe. Like, there's nothing I'd want to do in, like, the top tiers or anything. Unlike my GLDL team, where I wanted to trade out freaking Gouging Fire almost, like, after 3 or 4 weeks of doing it. But, yeah, that is the end of this video. Expect maybe a week 1 potential video coming up in, like, a week or so. Because that is when that league starts. Not many leagues starting up, which means that content might be slow, but who cares anyway, nobody watches this channel. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! What's that? Where is my mouse? Bye.